All right, so I'm sitting here with Ben Sessions and Caroline, and I got an email from Ben a week ago talking about how some of the changes that we had made were really reducing keyword cannibalization. And I was like, great, what does that mean for you? And so I thought we'd do a quick short video talking about A, what is keyword cannibalization? B, what we've done to deal with it, and then C, the results. So Caroline, can you just kind of give a really quick overview of when we talk about keyword cannibalization, what do we mean? Like, what is it? What are we talking about here?
So keyword cannibalization, it's essentially you've optimized multiple pages on your site for the exact same or very similar keywords. So you're essentially setting up those different pages on your site to compete amongst themselves for the same traffic or the same user intent. So with that is the strategy of de-optimizing certain pages, redirecting certain pages, things like that. So that's keyword cannibalization in a nutshell.
And the ultimate issue is, I mean, we're getting less traffic because we're distributing stuff across many pages, and Google doesn't know. Okay, so Ben, you're a very hands-on SEO person, so it's kind of fun to be working with you. Most of our clients know much less than you do. What do we do? Like, what did we look for? What were the things we were specifically trying to fix?
So I thought I've been doing this for a decade or so. And I just thought that, hey, the more that I use personal injury lawyer or DUI lawyer or car accident lawyer on my site, the more sort of relevant that Google would think that that content or my site would be.
Right.
So I had, all the different cities that I practice in, and I just thrown those keywords into the title tag, for example.
Okay.
And I just kept using them over and over again. And I thought that that would help. And for some reason, like the way that Caroline and Peter explained this to me, like it made sense. It was like, stop distributing this, stop confusing them with the main page. Right. Let's get them to the main page and let's try to focus them on the content that's really good and really well developed. And it made a huge difference.
And so let me just talk this back to you so we can clear this out for everyone. You were using kind of personal injury lawyer in almost every kind of primary piece of content for, like, example, an H1 or a title tag, right?
I would use, let's say, for example, I had my main personal injury lawyer page,
right,
which was just thesessionslawfirm.com/personal injury lawyer. I would have it there. It would be in my title tag there. But then whenever you went to my Atlanta location, you would see Atlanta personal injury lawyer. When you went to Macon, you would see Macon personal injury lawyer, all just in the title tag itself.
Yep.
And we just very simply removed that keyword, that personal injury lawyer or car accident lawyer or DUI lawyer, from those pages. Okay. And it's crazy that small change made a tremendous difference, but it did.
Small changes, big impact, right? And were we also adjusting? And by the way, for those of you watching, I genuinely don't know. I'm not being Socratic here. Were we also looking in terms of the keyword content, like within the actual content? Were we looking for that? Did we make those adjustments there as well?
We haven't done it within the body of the pages themselves. Okay. So Caroline, you may have done it on the back end without me knowing, but I haven't been adjusting the keyword content itself within the pages. And to be completely candid here, I've got 1,000 pages on there. So right. I mean, I was seeing real changes just by virtue of making that simple adjustment in the title tag there.
So that's another thing, Carolyn, I want to ask you. I mean, Ben has been at this game and he's been working on this for a while. He has a ton of content. This is really applicable to people who have really, really high page count. It's probably less relevant for people who have a 35-page website. Is that a fair assessment?
That is a fair assessment. So with a smaller site, each page has a little bit more punching weight, so to speak, in terms of its capabilities and its reach. But once you start building out a site, specifically in this case, we're working on a project with GeoPages, that's where it's like, hey, now we need to be much more theoretical and I want to say like philosophical in our approach. It's like, hey, so we have this keyword, we're going for personal injury lawyer variations of it. Does it strategically make sense to target it for this way or this particular usage, things like that. So that's where, as your sites get bigger, you have to be more conscious about what content you're putting out there as well as is it meaningful, is it helpful, and is it potentially going to compete with another page? Is there a way to update an existing page to make it a little bit stronger versus pumping out a new page? So that's where you have to be a little bit more granular in terms of how you audit and review your site.
When do you get a feel for, like, I have a number in my head. When do you get a feel, Caroline, of like this site might be too big from a page count perspective and too low from a quality perspective?
It really depends on the purpose of the site and the size of the firm and the size of the entity. So it's not necessarily a one magical number.
Okay.
For example, if you are a solo practitioner in a very competitive market, such as Ben here, where you're based between Atlanta, Georgia, with a satellite office in Macon, that's where it's like, okay, we need to go with like a mid-weight approach, so to speak. And, you know, you can interpret that however you would like. Versus if you're a smaller office, another solo practitioner, maybe in a more rural area, that's where it's like, all right, maybe we need, you know, 20-ish pages for, you know, the individual practice areas that you handle, and make sure that they're really well built out.
Okay, makes sense. So now this part we did rehearse. What were the results? Was it amazing? Did we look great? Do you have anything you would like to share?
Go ahead and get my screen share up and running here.
All right. So to at the risk of bearing the punchline, this has worked really, really well. And that's why I got the email from Ben. I was like, we should really talk about this. Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah.
So what have you seen, Ben?
I was seeing a breakthrough into the top 10 on keywords that a broader and geo-specific keywords that that I had struggled with breaking into the top 10 for years and years,
Right.
just by virtue of making that change. And it really is the only substantive change that we made. Like
Right.
it was, we started working on structure of the site, that sort of thing. But in terms of the actual on-page changes that we were making, that was it.
Okay. I have a question on how this came about. Where you said you've been trying to break through to page one for years and years and years. I suspect your approach to that has been like, I'm going to publish more content about this, right?
Oh yeah, I was just going to beat them over the head with it.
Yeah.
Just pump out as much stuff as you can that's relevant to car accidents. And a little did I know, like I was spreading it thin as opposed to concentrating it there.
Totally. And this drives me crazy because we, like the SEO industry, especially focusing on legal, have been content, and you guys have been listening to us and writing more content, and then that's been the problem that we end up unraveling for a lot of different firms. It's not by the way, this is not uncommon. It's just it's super fun to watch this dramatic change, right?
Yeah, it really is. Obviously, whenever I start seeing like a little bit of success, I'm like jump on it full bandwagon. I'm like, do I just start like
Really?
narrowing this site down to 20 pages long, sort of thing?
Yeah.
With just mega pages. But it's been a really sort of eye-opening experiment for me. So it's really cool.
Awesome. Caroline, are we missing anything?
A lot of pages that were originally just kind of hanging out because, like, again, the footprint spread pretty thin in terms of its overall value. And as we've been putting redirects, focusing more on the higher performing pages, that's where we see the user intent really go up and those pages being served more frequently.
So you talked about the redirects. So with this specific issue,
yes,
you kill, consolidate, or keep content, right? And for the most part, you've been redirecting.
A lot of it has been redirecting. That's the first step. The URL already exists. It's been crawled by Google. Rather than having a 404 and try to play the waiting game for that page to be de-indexed, it makes more sense to just go and redirect any existing value on that page to the strongest performing related page. Okay. And from there, optimizing that strong page even further to go like, hey, can we tweak the H1? Can we update the meta descriptions, for example? Can we break down H2s and H3? So making the page semantically easier for Google to understand in terms of the content that's there.
Okay. Are you taking any examples of where like these two pages look very similar, but I'm going to take part A from here and part B from here. Now I've got a longer format. Did we do any of that?
So far, the pages that are active on a site, specifically in this case, geo pages, that's been the bigger project. I've just been redirecting the existing page to the stronger page. The pages are pretty similar in content, with the exception of, geo-related terms. The phrasing, I want to see is about 20 to 25% different. So that way it is not exact, duplicate content with living within the same site. So it just makes sense to just redirect that page entirely rather than consolidating pages in this case.
Okay. All right. That's great. Well, thank you guys very, very much.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, I loved getting your email, and it makes me happy. Like a lot of times we work in this kind of really philosophical world, and it's really nice to see the changes actually coming about for our clients. It's great.
Oh, Conrad, it was the first time that I've gotten like, do X, Y, and Z. And we did it. And then it turned out that it played out perfectly.
Right.
It wasn't like it was actually a remarkable jump in a relatively quick period of time. So,
and that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's like, we'll do X, Y, and Z, and you're like, uh-oh, nothing happened. Sorry, client. But so it's nice to watch this happen. All right. Thank you very much, Ben and Caroline, and we'll see you later.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.